who was very, very upset. That detainee got into a scuffle with our correction officer, who was then jumped by others that were detained inside one of our units on the 4th floor at CJC. That correction officer was taken to the hospital, and we believe that he's doing well at this time. There was, unfortunately, inside of our system, in certain units, our detainees have the ability to Jimmie their locks, and the locks don't necessarily lock, even though our automated panel system would indicate that the cells are locked. They are in fact not locked. And so other detainees were able to get out of their cells and into the unit. Now the unit is also locked. However, we were able to get the correction officer out of that particular unit, at which time the panel was available to the detainees. Other detainees then were released from their cells into the unit. That particular unit was breached, which means that they were allowed then to get into the hallways. A second unit, right across from that unit, also at 2:30 in the morning, started to have defiant detainees. Those detainees were also very aggressive, very violent. They too were able to be released from their cells because those locks were also jimmied, and they were also able to breach their unit. And so if you were here, you saw that there were a number of detainees on the 12th Street side, which comprised of one unit, and there were detainees on the 11th Street side, which comprised of another unit. This was not any type of hostage situation. No detainee was hurt. This was not a situation where we were required or asked to negotiate with any of the detainees. So this was not a situation where there were demands being made by anyone. These were just very angry, defiant, very violent people that we house at the Justice Center. No one at the Justice Center is housed for a misdemeanor, a municipal offense, or a low-level felony. Everybody housed at the Justice Center is housed there because of very serious offenses, like assault on police officers and homicide and things of that sort. So these are very, very violent men that are housed in these two units. We have cleared those units. We have removed 55 of those men to our segregation unit, where we have better control and a locking system that is a maximum security locking system. Those people are in that unit. I have also moved 65 of some of the most violent defendants to the medium security institution, to MSI. MSI is a more secure facility than CJC. It is a more secure facility than CJC. As a result of that, 65 of those people have been transported to the medium security institution. Right now, there was nobody at risk inside of the facility. While they were able to breach their cells, the unit, they were not able to breach the floor. So they were all maintained on the floor. So we were able to bring those folk out without any incident. No one was defiant. No one resisted. Once we went in to bring them out, they all complied. So one injury this morning, very early this morning at 2:30 a.m. To the correction officer. No injuries to anyone else, including the detainees.
What can you tell us about how you were able to get the situation under control?
Well, we were able to get the situation under control with the help of a lot of law enforcement personnel. So we utilized the Sheriff's Department, we utilized the correction officers, and the St. Louis City Police Department. We were able to go in and to get those people to come out. In fact, there was no resistance at all. Once we went in, we were not met with resistance.
Tell us about the future of these men. Will they be charged for today?
I certainly would hope so. We know exactly the people that were involved. We know the people that set the fires. We have lots of surveillance, and we're going to be able to take a look at that, I believe, about 5 a.m., maybe even a little earlier than 5 a.m. I did contact the circuit attorney to let her know what was transpiring. I contacted, of course, the U.S. Marshal with respect to any of the federal offenders. And so between 2:30 and 3 a.m., I was able to bring together our law enforcement team so that we're able to make sure that we addressed the situation. And we addressed it in a way that was respectful, that we addressed it in a way that was very firm. This is unacceptable. It's absolutely unacceptable, irrespective of what circumstances you are in. This was not an attempt to break out of jail. This was certainly not a situation involving COVID. We have 0 COVID cases at CJC. So this was a bunch of folk that were defiant. This was a bunch of people that decided that they were going to engage in criminal mayhem. And that's exactly what they did, and they should be held accountable for what they did.
Is there
Any idea why they were upset?
There is no idea why they were upset. Obviously, there were no demands. Obviously, we had no conversation. This was just something that happened at 2:30 in the morning with 117 very aggressive offenders.
anything being done to
questions.
fix the lock? Can you tell us about the fourth floor? Is it unusable right now? How long will it take to repair?
We have 4 units on every floor. There will only be 1 unit on the 4th floor that will be usable. We will be able to go in and have those units available, I hope, in the next 3 to 4 weeks.
We spoke with a staff member who says that the Justice Center is understaffed and the inmates know it and are taking advantage of that. Is there truth behind that?
Well, I don't know what the inmates know. I don't know whether they're taking advantage of it. I can tell you that we are indeed understaffed.
If this is the third disturbance in the past few weeks, can you tell us why this is happening?
Well, you know, it's interesting because the first reason given was COVID. The second reason given was COVID. This time, no reason was given. We have no COVID detainees inside of CJC.
Anything being done to fix the lock situation? You mentioned they were able to jimmy the lock.
Yes, I've been very, very concerned about our lock situation. This is not a new problem for the city. When the building was built, it was built with these types of medium security locks that have the ability to be manipulated and compromised. We've been working on that since December. I hope certainly to get those fixed. And so in the meantime, I have to make sure that I secure the defendants in a place that is secure, that will not only keep the defendants and the inmates safe, but also to keep our employees safe. I mean, that's the top of mind for me.
You said you moved 65 people, but they moved them today, or are you talking about previous?
They were moved this morning.
They're all moved this morning?
Yes.
What was the mindset as the prisoners were at the windows with the fire? Why didn't the fire personnel turn their hoses on them to put that out and push them back from the windows?
Well, you know, it's important to me that we behave humanely. And so any images of fire hoses against anybody raises lots of real serious concerns for me. And so we want to be humane. We understood, I had the fire department here, that what was being lit on fire was paper on top of that building, was concrete. We knew that we were not at risk of a fire. And so it is important to me that irrespective of who they are and what they are, they be treated humanely. And so it did not cross my mind that we would even think about putting water on those people that were hanging out of the window. And I think that the end justifies the means, because when we opened the door and when we asked them to lay on the floor, when we asked them to come out one at a time, they complied.
They said that they were being maced. Did that happen or not?
Yes, we used a small amount of tear gas.
We use tear gas when we enter these cells. And usually what happens when we put a small amount of tear gas into the cells, the detainees will run back to their cells. When we put the tear gas into the unit, they will run back to their cells, and then we're able to bring them out one at a time.
Okay, guys, I think two's going to need to get caught up. Otherwise, I will circle back with all of you on any other updates.
Just to confirm, it was 117 inmates involved in this in total. Okay, thank you.